So there's a new bill being introduced that would ban gay conversion therapy. And it's introduced by Representative Ted Lieu from California. That's my congressman, along with Senators Patty Murray, a Democrat from Washington, and Cory Booker, a Democrat from New Jersey, and about 70 other members of Congress. All Democrats said they support the bill. And I'm glad they're introducing this bill. And because being gay isn't a mental illness or whatever that needs to be fixed, or as Mike Pence wants to just shock it out of you. But that's still happening. There's still states that allow that to happen. And I guess it's one of these laws that I'm like, I'm glad there's people out there fighting for it, but I'm also just like so embarrassed for America that there's just, why is the gay thing such a threat to so many conservatives? I just don't get it. What is the threat? You know, I don't, it's going to, you know, the gay marriage thing, they're all mad about that because it's like, oh, it's going to take away the sanctity of marriage. We have a 55% divorce rate in this country. Who gives a shit? And the Constitution is very clear. Everybody gets the same rights. And so it's really, you know, being gay isn't a condition that needs to be fixed. It's not an illness. It's not an ailment. They've done studies. They've shown monkeys in the wild, and some of them were homosexual. What happened? Did they watch too much Glee? Is that why? Is that why they did that? So it just doesn't make sense, and I don't understand this constant fighting of this thing. Like, what is, I don't know why, like, evolving and becoming more open-minded is seen as such a threat. I don't get it. I understand I'm not down with the Democratic Party because they don't give a shit about working people, and then they try to force their social agenda on me let's say I'm a conservative person living in a small town or something like that, or in a red state or red county or city or whatever. So I get that, you know, and I'm glad they're doing this, but it's like the Democrats fight hard for stuff like this, as well they should, but then they buckle to the war and the corporate machine and to the banks. This is what makes me frustrated, because they should be fighting for this and working people and regulation and prosecuting corrupt Wall Street and the oil industry. They should be doing all that, but they get money from them. So I'll go into a little bit, kind of the history on how insane this country is. In 1952, homosexuality was included as a mental illness in the first edition of the American Psychiatric Association's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. It's a mental disorder. So they did electric shock. I mean, all this, it's just like, you listen to this, it's like, was this the Dark Ages? Like, did they put gays and see if they floated like a witch? They put leeches on them and maybe the leeches would take away the gay? Oh boy, it's just insane. And then we go into, this article goes into, this is important here. A San Francisco State University study found that compared to LGBT youth who are accepted, young people who experience rejection based on their sexual orientation or gender identity were 8 times more likely to have attempted suicide, and nearly 6 times more likely to report high levels of depression, and more than 3 times more likely of using illegal drugs. When I interviewed Todd Glass for the Earbuds documentary, which is a documentary I directed about podcasting, and Todd Glass is a fairly well-known comedian who had been in the closet for years, and he came out on the Marc Maron show like 3-4 years ago. And I asked him why he decided to come out, because he was like, and even in the interview and when he was on Marc Maron's podcast, WTF, he's like, you know, I never thought of myself as gay. He's like, I'm not like flamboyant. I'm like a you know, hello, sweetie. Like, he always jokes. I'm not that. I'm still Todd Glass. But he realized that, and he goes, I have a lot of young fans, and some of them are gay, and if any of them are feeling like suicidal or depressed because of this, like this study that San Francisco State found, He goes, it was my duty. I have a little bit of a following. I have a podcast to tell them, hey, young person, if you're feeling weird and everyone's freaking out or whatever, you're okay. You're totally okay. And, I'm not doing his interview as much, it's a powerful interview, and I'm not giving him as much credit. I can't articulate the point the way he did. So it's important because telling people that you're wrong, like, why not just accept people? Like, you really want a high suicide rate? You want to tell people you're wrong and dirty? And like, it just feels like this country has just become just mean and barbaric. We just hate everybody. Nobody's looking out for anybody. We're dragging people off of planes. We're shooting unarmed people. We're just killing civilians in drone strikes to help for freedom. And we're telling a segment of the population that you're not equal. You have an illness. You have an ailment. It's insane. And this is the thing, 30 years from now, we're going to look back and go, you got to be kidding me. The way we look back at like segregated drinking fountains and black people sitting on the back of the bus and stuff like that, it's literally, that's what we're doing. It's the equivalent of that. And I want to go into a little bit that about some of the people here. So, because there's Peter Sprigg of the Family Research Council, a conservative lobby group that supports conversion therapy, told ABC's 2020 that he felt confident Vice President Pence and other Republicans would support the FRC in fighting the gay lobby. Geez, so being a decent human being is some evil lobby group, just treating people as who they are. And of course he quotes the Bible. Well, I've said this in my act. The Bible says a lot of stuff in it. Some of it's crazy. So it also says, it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. And the Bible also says it's a sin to mix grains. And I've never seen anybody outside of a grocery store going, your multi-grain bread will make baby Jesus cry. God hates an everything bagel. That's a bit from my act. So, and I'll go into this little quick thing about during her confirmation hearings, Betsy DeVos was called out by Senator Al Franken, a Democrat from Minnesota, for her family's alleged donations to groups such as Focus on the Family, a conservative Christian organization that pushes conversion therapy. DeVos said that Franken had mischaracterized her core family's donations and that she did not support conversion therapy. Yeah, that's all this double talk, but you gave them money. She said, I never believed in that. Let me say, first of all, I fully embrace equality, and I believe in the innate value of every single human being. White Christians a little more, Betsy. Let's just say that. Let's just say straight white Christians. You think of them a little bit better. Just a little bit better. So this is a bill we should pay attention to, and we should vote for it, and the Democratic Party should fight as hard for a bunch of other anti-war and anti-big business and anti-oil bills as much as they fight for this, because they're all equally important. And the environment, it's equally important. Because without an environment, or if we're in a perpetual state of war and World War III, without drinkable water, breathable air, then nobody gets anything. There's nothing left. So, and yeah, can we just be a nicer society and treat all people equally? Be cool? And just, what's wrong with saying, this person, I don't understand, I don't get it? People say to me, oh my God, Graham, how are you a vegetarian or surfing? Aren't there sharks in the water? And they just don't get that it's okay. It's okay. Let somebody have their lifestyle choice. Two consenting adults can do whatever the hell they want, and they don't need to be shocked out of being gay. Like and support. Go to the Patreon page. That's how you support independent media. And I appreciate you guys watching the show.